man, once you wake up fully, man. So,
and I love it. I wouldn't want to go back.
And that's why I like Star Wars, because that's Star Wars. The Jedis believe in that goodness. Like,
absolutely.
It's just vibe, bro. And then I'll be stronger, and I'll protect us, and we'll be all good. Right. And you can be a Jedi too. But
what the fuck?
On the dark side, it's like, nah, get mad, get horny. You know, it's like, fuck that bitch. Yeah. Steal that car.
That's right.
That makes you more powerful. That's why I always love that story, because it is that duality of it's always easier to do the bad thing.
But it's always awesome, like in that exact story, the in between about how you feel like you're a very causal group or a very causal person, and then you got the opposite. You can also lose sight of what the main goal is in between. You know what I mean? Which is what happened to the Jedi.
The Ruffled Feathers Podcast.
Well, I would have thought I'd be here, y'all. I met this dude. I guess it's been like over a year, a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. Like I met this dude, and like we've been hooping since, man. Like,
that's what I told him. I was like, Hyman's just good people, man. Like good energy. That's why I was like, he'll be good over here.
Yeah.
I'm private, even though I'm fucking doing a podcast. Yeah. Like my gym time's my time. Like. Yeah. So I don't even try to, tell people I tattoo. I don't. I got a podcast going, because you need your space to just be yourself. Yeah. And that's why, like, on the being a celebrity and shit. Like, I don't like some of the stuff they have to go through, and I can see how that fucks you up. Yeah. When everybody's riding your nuts, and you're just like, I'm just like you, man. Like,
but these people, a lot of those people are like, their lifestyle is like created like that, like when we come up on our own, we can decide how far we want to go and how, I mean, obviously if people know us, that's inevitable, but most of these people are like commercial, like, oh, that's fucking Justin Bieber, like, fucking,
That's right.
But when I was younger, I used to rap, and I wanted the fame, bro. Like I was just like naive kid, bro. Like my dreams were fucking the moon and back and Mars and back, But I just didn't have the structure, I just had the faith and the ambition, but it never worked out, But I always found myself in entertainment or like, filming, editing, on my dad's side, there's like Mexican actors and stuff that like made it in, big and stuff.
Oh, nice. I didn't know this.
Don Ramon, dude, from El Chavo del Ocho.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Y'all know who that is?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
I've seen the show.
Well, I know Chavo del Ocho, but I don't know the characters like that.
I'll put a B-roll. But so he was a big, like the Chavo del Ocho is like one of the biggest shows in Mexico, bro. It still shows like, it's old as hell. Yeah. And then he had a brother, Tintan, and then El Loco Valdez. Okay. So they're in Mexico, they're big, old school, Tintan was from the silver screen. But that's from my grandma's side. That's my uncles, my great uncles. Yeah, that's from my dad's uncles,
So that's why you're the Mexican Jew, man. He's a Mexican Jew. We were in show business. Wait a minute.
Dun, dun, dun. But I love it too. But it's like, in my 40s, bro, I decided to take a huge leap. Like to quit my job. Dude, like for the first time in my life, I had a job where I wasn't like fucking up from drugs or alcohol. I was like, I have to quit, dude, because it's like, this is giving me, like, it's getting me by, but I'm not living, bro. Like, I didn't feel like I was, like, living. I feel like I was just existing in, like, a machine, a part of a machine, Which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, because power to the people that can do it, or, like, are okay doing it. But I wanted to take a leap of faith, dude, and, like, I knew the fear was there, but for the first time in my life, the trust in God was more stronger than
more present.
Well, it was more like, it was just like, if I don't believe in God, this is the time to say I do believe in. This is how I can show that I believe, And I had some scares, it's been rough, but
we're still going through it.
It's here. This is episode 10, bro.
We're still going through it, yeah.
So that's basically, I said all that to say, don't give up on that shit, bro. Find yourself, man. It's never too late, man.
Feel it deep in your loins, Because each night, you're going to let some out.
Oh, man.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, right?
But I think that leads me to, I had a little moment earlier, and I was just like, I want to reiterate to people watching and just to everyone and to myself is that when I talk on things or when I speak on things, I don't feel like I know it all. And just the way I always try to practice what I preach, I still fall. Like, I'm still sipping, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I still smoke. Like, I do things that are still considered wrong or even detrimental to success. But I do it because I live this life just as much as anybody else has, and sometimes I need my vices. But as long as my North Star is always pointing north, you know, you can take it within, you know, moderation. And I say that because I just don't want to seem off like I know it all, or because I used to think that way when I was younger, especially as a dude and a man and always trying to prove yourself. We've all been there, I think, where we got checked at one point by a bigger stallion, and then you're just kind of like, all right, I don't like the way that felt, or he roughed me up a little bit.
That line from the other tribe said something like, "Oh shit, it's some other shit right here."
I've always had a small circle because I've always been honest. Yeah. And if that makes my circle even smaller, so be it. But I do that because I love people and friends and people around me. Yeah. So that's kind of been my best and worst trait. And it took me 40 years to realize that, but gotta keep on going, man.
That's real,
We're
bro.
all fucked up,
that's
right?
Real. But it's also like the connections that's been happening, bro. You know, like we met old boy David and Chris, bro.
Yeah.
And so kind of like what you were going back to what we're all talking about. You know, like sometimes divine timing is kind of like inevitable and
it's divine.
And it's why it's so beautiful, because it's like, man, like I wanted this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you know, but things happen when they were meant to happen, and I think that's the beauty of the divine timing, the God, you know. So, but also we have to go through hardships. We have to go through things that we don't want to go through, some things that we never even expected that we would even be confronted with, you know what I'm saying? But if you come out of it, you're stronger. You know, so
like
I mean,
the divorce, you know, like you know.
Yeah,
like,
right. And I mean, you know, where you came from, bro. Like a lot of people don't make it out. A lot of people get stuck in that mentality, but you think big. So, this is all about dreaming big and pursuing that dream, bro. You know, so let's fucking go.
Thank y'all. Thank everybody, whoever watches, whatever. 20, 200, 2,000, 2 million. Like it's always. I do this shit because I love art, and this is art to me. Just the way I tattoo, paint, draw, sketch. Sculpt, carve. I love art just the way I love people and cars, you know, or cars.
And Hot Wheels. I mean, artists too, bro.
Yeah.
So, like, do you feel like you've always pursued the music? Like,
man, I gravitated towards it kind of early, man. We used to have like a little karaoke machine at the house and stuff, so we would always like, you know, be singing something, doing something, man. So my dad would, when we were kids, he would play guitar and stuff. So it's just always one of those things that you just look at, you know, and you're just like, and of course, Selena was like, you know, probably one of the top movies.
Oh,
you know, like you
with J-Lo?
That's just on repeat. So you're just like, oh man, I could do something.
So y'all had a little family band or what?
No,
just
the Dinos. Yeah, I was with the Dinos. Yeah.
I thought this was going that way.
Every Friday in the garage.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we were just, everybody's real musical. My mom, she used to sing at the church, you know, all sorts of stuff. So it's like, oh, I want to do this. I did some acting like at the community college where we're at, you know, so I was like, you know, always just around the little art stuff. But at the end of the day, that money thing always kind of tugs at all of that, because you can't get to and from, and then all the other, you know, small shit that goes with that. So, you know, the business side kind of took me away from it, because you just got to accumulate funds, man, you know. So, but that's kind of what's kind of, you know, you're in, like for me at least, I'm in and out, because it's like, oh, I got to go make the money because I want to do a cool project and recovering from that project and then go do the next thing, you know, because I, you know, definitely don't want to, you know, get to the end of all of this experience, you know, and not have me stuff, you know, stuff that I've also
that gym time, that art time, that creative time. But that's like the double-edged sword, right? Like we want to get money to feel secure and do what we want to do, and money, having money is freedom in a sense, right? Because when you don't have money, you got Africa, you know, you got Saudi Arabia, you know, like,
man.
So there's a fine line of balance of being who you are to the fullest. Like I have a number to where it's fuck you money, but it's not what people would think. You know, it's way lower, because my value is not in the physical stuff. Because I realize over time, like the physical stuff is cool when you get it, and it might still be cool for another month or two, but then it kind of fizzles out.
Literally.
It doesn't fill the void, man. In longing life and like joy with the family and stuff.
It
that's
dies
more
out,
important, man.
But those people, these relationships, these like trying to podcast. I got other ambitions of having the tattoo show, which we've already made promotions for. But it was just like, this is such a big production. It's just like, all right.
Yeah.
Which we were going to do
you
first.
You learn as you go, too, though. I'm sure you've learned it and you bump your head in the way.
Yeah, bump my head a lot.
But that's learning.
That's doing something, though. Like not bumping your head is like stagnant, like being in the same
or
place.
cheating.
Yeah.
Like with these CEOs who buy business or get into businesses they had no business in the first place.
Yeah.
They didn't create it from the ground up.
Just acquire companies overall as opposed to like going through the whole and trial tribulations of developing the technology or the process, right?
Those are the CEOs that give the real CEOs the bad name. Like the ones that went to the school.
That's what Bill Gates did.
Yeah. He bought somebody else's business.
Microsoft, yeah. And he was thinking he invented all the software. He didn't.
Yeah.
Dang.
But that doesn't mean anything, dude. It's like right here. Like, we have the power to create our world inside of us and a short range around you, And I mean, even that could be the whole world. To some, it could be. To some, it might be the city, the state.
But that's how mushrooms grow. Mushrooms grow underneath. So you see one mushroom pop up another one. It's not its own little root system. They're connected from underneath. And I feel like that's how we are. And our mushroom pile can be this big, and there could be another one this big right next to us. But as long as we all like think the same, but we're still ourselves, that's what makes each little mushroom cluster different from the other one. These might be short and fat. These might be tall and skinny. These might be low and powerful. That's how I feel like we should live.
That's a good way to look at it. I never thought about that.
I didn't know mushrooms grew that way.
It's just like, even trees, dude. Like, so there's apparently like an invisible algae that connects all plants under the earth. And it's almost like an energy, but it's like closer to an actual living thing rather than an energy, like something that you can see.
An organism.
Or not, because I don't think you can see it either. It's like a transparent.
It's probably visible, just not to what we can see.
Right, but it's like in energy, rather, because like energies are waves, which is kind of like the same thing, but it's also like connected.
Yeah.
So in an organic
thing, it's like our nervous system.
Yeah.
They look like little veins, but they look like roots also.
It's kind of like what they got going on in that movie Avatar. They talk about that.
They
plug into that shit. You know what I mean? The tree of life or whatever.
So
I feel like that's real though. Like there's those both senses that we get of being organized or organic creatures here, but also we can transcend this place. Right? And that's the faith. So we're both. So that's why I see like, all right, we also have the free will to like create whatever we want to create. And that's the dope part to me, is just like we can create whatever we want to create. That means do whatever, be the dinosaur, be the podcast, be whatever, be the musician that you want to be and engulf, and then also just stay grounded. And then that ecosystem takes you as far as you want it to go.
What are some of your ambitions? Some of your hobbies, or what do you?
Or what is your dinosaur?
Look, man, like to be honest, like it was funny and interesting how you mentioned like at the beginning of the podcast about like you wanted to act when I was young. Like that was something that I wanted to do, but I definitely didn't put in the work, and I didn't have the ambition to actually pursue it. And whether that was the right thing or the wrong thing, like I am where I am now. But like for me, it's about to me it's more of a personal accomplishment. Like going back to school, knocking that down in addition to anything else I want to do. Hobbies wise, at this point, like it's more about like finding myself right now, man. Like it just I'm trying to become a better person, right? Just spiritually. My whole thing is I treat people the way I want them to treat me, man. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
And like
that's fair.
I do everything I can right now, man, just to it's day by day, and try to live every day better than the day before. You know what I mean? And like but I mean, obviously now basketball is like a really big thing to me, man. Like but I don't have like, I mean, it'd be awesome to do something like art. I know I think that's fantastic, right? Like the drawing, the music, that's great, man. But like I'm just right now, I'm just trying to put everything together.
Well, I've kind of heard the word, but EPOCH. Do you know what an EPOCH is?
No.
So
I've heard the word.
Right. Right. Same thing.
epoch
Same.
is,
Same.
right?
Nah,
I've heard the word, but I
epoch.
never. If you want to look it up.
I think you said that originally, right? Epoch or epoch?
Epoch or epoch.
I don't
know.
know. I don't know what it
Both
is.
might be
Or
the
CH.
same.
It might be.
I mean, yeah, I
CH.
said CK. What
Epoch.
the hell's wrong with me?
Epoch. No, it might be
CH.
epoch.
No, it's definitely
Everybody's
CH. It's CH for
Yeah.
sure. I
But no, I don't know what it means.
So let's see how it sounds like.
Epoch.
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 Yeah.
Epoch.
So look, definition. Bird, you read it.
Okay. A period of time in history or a person's life, typically one marked by notable events or particular characteristics. The Victorian epoch, like
So
Victorian times.
You go through epochs.
Or the time of Jesus, or the time of dinosaurs. Those are the Renaissance. Those are epochs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or epochs.
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 Epochs. Yeah.
Epics.
Epics.
Yeah,
So
'cause we almost named it. Epoch was in there in one of the names we were thinking of.
what is
somewhere.
it? I don't. There's the Epoch Times, which is
Yeah.
a newspaper,
Yeah.
an online newspaper. But anyways, ever since I learned that word, I've related it to epoch times of my own life.
Yeah.
So there's that time where, you know, I was doing drugs. That was my epoch of drug times. But you go through these different epochs to just become who you are to that present day.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're in a different epoch. You're like in the epoch of relearning who you are.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you thought you were somebody this other way and then it didn't happen that way. And then now you're like, because I had that.
Yeah.
But I had it young.
Gotcha.
And, you know, I think everybody has that moment where you hit rock bottom, and everybody's rock bottom's different, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Some
for
people is completely losing everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a fucking divorce.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, you know,
Or multiple things, just like
right,
oh,
yeah,
it's
like
Dude, some
near-death
people,
experiences.
losing
you know?
a job or losing a leg, like
Right.
people lose a kid, you know. I
And
mean,
those epochs stop because a new one's starting.
Yeah.
And ever since that word, dude, I've always like started to look at life like that.
Yeah.
And those harsh times are also epochs
Yeah.
because they bring the new one.
Well, the Bible says that there's a time to cry, a time to fight, a time to work, a time to cry, a time to live.
It's a beautiful day.
Yeah. But that's an epoch. I mean, you know, if you can look at it like that, because there is a time to fight, there is a time for peace, there is a time to grow, there is a time to sow,
Right.
there is a time to crop, you know, to till the dirt.
And that's what freaks me about today's day and age. And this is, again, I say this almost every episode. This is why I started the podcast, is because I feel like we're in that epoch of peace.
Yeah.
And we're going to put ourselves to the next epoch of war.
That's right.
And it's just like, yo, like if y'all would if we could stop that epoch from happening,
Yeah.
if we would just like realize like, hey, like listen to each other. Like let's hold people in power accountable.
That's the only way it works, man.
Watch what they're up to. Not just because they say the same things you hear,
Yeah.
but because you're actually physically saying, dude, what are you doing behind closed doors, Jared? Like, I gotta know. I'm in.
Whoa. No,
Yeah. Yeah, open those doors.
Yeah.
I'll check the time, bro. Like, it's in business hours.
It's safe in here.
It's in business hours. Because what you do on your free time is what you do. But if I'm trusting you to run, Bujo Vision, like, I want to know, like, well, what are you doing to help run this company efficiently? What are you doing to help this world run, in peace?
Yeah.
And that's why the antithesis of this podcast was just that, because I have kids. I want people to continue to go after us, because we're not going to know what happens, 100 years from now, because we're going to be dead.
Yeah. So
I want to just hope that my kids that see that 100 years are all right. They're doing well.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like in famine. They're not. It's not going to the grocery store and you take your AR-15 and pop a smoke grenade.
Yeah.
To go run and get some bread.
Yeah.
Because it could happen here.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
But it's like, it is inevitable, bro. But I think these people use that fear shit, that fear factor, to scare. And it's sadly that the majority of us are that gullible or that fragile or that
emotional.
But
we're also brainwashed
to believe it and to live off that fear. Well, I mean, the perfect example, that's me, bro. For the majority of my life, I live in a catastrophic state. I always over catastrophize.
Not me, man. Don't ask me.
Catastrophize everything. Y'all know what I mean.
Catastrophize.
Catastrophize everything, right? So like, And I don't know if it's like hereditary.
And we know where we're going.
Yeah. But like I would always just expect the worst, right? Like so I'm like, okay, if there's a party tonight, man, what if somebody has a shootout and a bullet hits me in the kidney or something? You know, like I would play every scenario, good and bad.
Negative, mostly though, right?
Because
catastrophe, I think negative. Right?
Yeah, right. And most of them are negative, but it's like obviously the optimistic part is like automatic, right? Like I know what could go well, but I'm focused on what could go wrong. You know, so I feel like that limited me a lot in my time growing up because like it was fear of leaving my job, leaving that paycheck, even though it was $500 a week, $1,000 a week. It was always coming, and it was a blanket, whether it was good or not, it was something. You know. So I lived in that fear, like, damn, what if because even when I was 18, I wanted to rap, bro. I was willing to give everything up, sell fucking drugs and fucking buy mics and fucking get monitors and go, And we were there, but things changed, epochs changed, like there was things that didn't make it happen, bro. Like we had some issues with some cops and shit, That scared the shit out of me. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't want to go to jail, so I changed it. So then I went to the safe. I gotta get back to work. I gotta get that paycheck, and I'm good. And I decided to go like that, dude. And then I started.
You completely pivoted off course.
Yeah,
instead of kind of just reverting.
Yeah, off of fear, though.
Yeah.
Off of straight fear, right? So I started this. I don't know if you ever seen Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
So I had a low budget version called Crack Tunes of that. We have some episodes. We'll show some.
That's nice, man.
They're like goofy as shit, funny as shit, and super low budget, but they're funny, you know? And we were going somewhere. We started gradually getting better, but then again, the fear of like, I don't want to be in the streets, or like, man, like not believing in my dream that my dream could get me out of there. I went back and back and back. So I hate to go back to that, but it's like I'm seeing it now, And it's like that's in the world we live today, because we have the phones in our hands, so we're exposed to it more privately and more timely
than ever.
Yeah. And all the time, And I see it myself too, dude. I'll be like, oh fuck, just doom scrolling.
Yeah. So his favorite thing is hearing, yeah. It's just like,
dude, look at this. But again, my point was fear, like, and we want to teach or enlighten or make awareness that this fear mongering is on purpose and for a reason, and if we allow that to happen, we power their agenda with our energy.
And we go backwards again.
That.
The cycle continues.
Exactly. And I'm a firm believer in energies, and I think that's how they, what is it? Their not agenda, but their tactics,
ideology,
their
beliefs,
or what their plan, like whatever they're wanting to manifest. We manifested for them, with our emotions.
No, for sure.
So that's what we need to be careful about. It's not that emotions are bad or you shouldn't have them or they're not valid, but think.
Like as if I gotten older, man, like, because you're talking about energies and all that, and you're talking about like the small circles. I mean, I think those are like two huge things, man. They come together in a way, like the older I've gotten, man, it's like I can meet a lot of people, you know what I mean? On everyday life, but it's like the people you let into your life, the people that you let into your circle, man, it matters so much, right? It's all you want to be around people who are doing productive, positive things, right? And it's not that you're over here trying to emulate what they're doing specifically, right? But it's like you learn things from everyone, the different viewpoints that you might have on everything we were talking about today,
spirituality.
What I mean? Like, that's right, man. Like
Mexico,
everything, man. Like I feel like that's how you become a better person. Just getting different perspectives from total strangers, from the people that matter, the people you care about, the people you love. But yeah, like I'm not big on having like this huge group of friends. You know what I mean? Like like over the last year or two, man. Like there's a couple of friends that I met maybe 10 years ago, man, and like there's one particular friend of mine, man. I love this guy. I met him about 10 to 11 years ago, and it wasn't until like the last year, man, that like we've gotten super close. Like super close. He's a great guy. He's a true friend of mine. You know what I mean? And like I just feel like it's just experience that like just the older you get, man, the more you realize.
I think because too you see your change of being 20-year-old, being the young bull.
That's right.
Like we had 1-track minds for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever we would think about, it was like...
It never leaves us. We just get more rational.
Right, whether it's like, nah, fuck that. He can't talk to me like that. Nah, fuck that. Like, or like, oh, damn, who's that, man? Ooh, man.
Oh, yeah.
But as you get older, if you pass that state and you mature and that epoch's over, you come into the new one where it's just like, young bull, I am now the teacher.
No,
you know, right?
I'm the bull.
I'm the big bull.
Experience bull, yeah.
And that's why I think we had the birthday episode where I was just like, look, I'm digging 40 years old because like I've figured all that out and I'm still learning, but like that's a big step for me because I am one of those weirdos that wants to save people, you know. I'm one of those weirdos that wants to, you know, sound the alarm, like, you know, the fucking tornado's coming, like we should seek shelter, like that would be me. You know, somebody in a car accident, let me go check on them.
That's right.
And this is the way I felt like we can do it. We can do it in the masses, and that's, you know, do a podcast like this, and I want it organic because that's the way life is. You know, again, we're connected to the roots and shit, and it sounds like some far out man stuff, but there's truth to it.
Yeah.
And what is reading a book? Reading a book is what? You're reading someone's story to you, right? Mm-hmm. That's the same as meeting somebody new. Yeah. You're reading a new story about this person. And that's why people who love reading books, they like, because of all the knowledge they get, I see people the same way. Pablo's story has given me so much knowledge that I wanted to reach out to him when I wanted to start the podcast and do all this stuff because I knew he had that Crack Tunes past and I knew he had a fucking passion for it. And I was like, well, those are the type of people I want to attract. And so let me reach out, you know, and you know, I feel like that's where we're losing it because we are into the phones. The algorithms are showing us where our bad, you know.
Algorithms will let you know who you are.
Man.
Yeah, who's ready to show the algorithm right now?
No, because then you're like, oh.
My phone's in
yeah, who's first?
Nobody likes me.
Big booty, big booty.
It's like, man, it's like, man.
The world, man, it's the times, but it's also like, it's all strategically done too, though, you know, because this technology, they've had it for decades before we get introduced to it.
That's right.
You know? Mm-hmm. So it's all a pattern, bro, and it's like the Matrix. Well, we like to call it the Matrix, you know? So, like, it's okay. We're going to be part of the Matrix, and it's okay to work, to play the Matrix, but you're going to be the player. You can't be an NPC, right?
Mm-hmm. You don't want to be.
Yeah, you got to be a main player, main character.
Yeah, player
know?
one,
and
player four.
Realize that you could bend the laws of the universe and of what is.
But that segues us perfectly into like modern times because we wanted to talk about DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, ran by old Elon Musk and his team of hackers. And this is what trips me out. Like, I think everybody up to this point, if you've been watching, can all agree people get corrupt. There's evil, there's darkness. There's people that do fucked up things, whether you think they're evil or not, they've done it. Yeah. Like murderers are real, sacrificing is real, right? Even to this day. So why can't corruption be real? And then that leads us into what DOGE is unveiling, like how the government has been spending so much money on bullshit. Empty buildings, weird scientific research on animals. Mm-hmm. There's a test that they were putting beagles in this mesh cage. Mm-hmm. Their bodies were unexposed, but in that mesh cage was their head. And in that head they put flesh-eating bacteria and bugs, and they just studied what happened to the beagles. That was all the research.
That's just, yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably millions of dollars in that one project. And then there's other projects where they're, we have to verify about the shrimp on the treadmills.
I'm gonna find
Look on that one, where they're checking the science on what happens on a shrimp on a treadmill.
A shrimp,
like a little crustacean, the little guy like.
That's right.
Yeah.
And hundreds of thousands of dollars put into it. Other shit, like they're still funding government buildings that have no occupants.
Look.
Like they don't use them anymore.
It's right there.
Shrimp testing on the treadmill.
A scientific experiment where researchers place shrimp on a specially designed underwater treadmill to study how their swimming behavior and performance are affected by various factors like water quality, disease, or environmental stressors.
On shrimp.
On shrimp.
I just want to eat shrimp, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, they have a case study on us humans to test that. They don't have to test it on shrimp.
Yeah.
But
these are where millions of dollars are going, and people who are still so left and right, blue and red, they're still saying, you know, well, it doesn't. You shouldn't be looking at that stuff. Like, Trump has too much power to be able to do this and stop this funding. They're still arguing for the corruption. You know?
I heard that the other day. I was talking to somebody, and he's like, well, what do you think about what Trump is doing? And I said, well, hold on, what point? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Several different
Trump says a lot of shit.
Right?
Yeah. So, like, the answer I gave him, you know, was more on the whole, like, immigration stuff. But the answer he was looking for was, what was it? Oh, damn, I just lost my train of thought.
The government spending?
Yeah, the government spending. He says the CIA, he dismantled the CIA, which I don't know if that's true or not, but I guess Trump dismantled the CIA.
Well, he's working on it.
Yeah, so he's like, that's a consolidation of power. And I'm like, well, bro, when did the CIA ever do anything right? Like, you know, are you talking about the cocaine wars, or, you know, how they assassinated all these people and stuff? Like, nah, dude. So,
MK Ultra, who we talk about on this show a lot.
Yeah. It's like, what are you advocating for the CIA? Like, if anybody else was to do this, they'd be a hero.
That's right.
Like, you know.
But because it's Trump, it's like,
everything he does is bad.
Like, he wears blue now. Nobody likes blue no more.
Right,
like,
we all bloods over here, fam. Like,
I'll throw over my blue shirts.
No, and I feel like when things like this come up, people immediately say, oh, you're just a big Trumpy. You know, like, huge Trump. And it's like, no, it doesn't even have to be like that. It's just about being a realist. Like, just because you're not criticizing every single move that a person makes doesn't make you a big fan of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and they expect
perfection.
Like, perfection from these people, and they forget that they're still human. But not only that, bro. Like, think about, like, on that scale, the kind of stress that they're under and the kind of decisions that they have to make. Dude, people have to suffer when there's like millions of people involved. You know, like, if somebody's gonna. It's not an easy decision to make, but it has to be made.
Right.
And I'm not necessarily a Trumper, right? I try to believe, I think, a little bit more logically, and it just seems like that was the right step to go. You know, and people just hate him so much that they're like digging for his information. They're like sharing everything negative about him. And like we talked about it, like these people give him power. Like, you're giving this one man so much power, and you believe that he's that powerful.
Yeah.
You forget that God is still above him, bro. God still rules.
And there's people that you trust who are vibing with him. Like, maybe me and him aren't crazy. Maybe you've been led a wrong path. Or maybe your emotions are so charged you can't get over your emotions. And that's a derangement syndrome. That's a Trump derangement syndrome, where they, no matter what, if they hear the word Trump, fuck that. Like, it's like, nah, man, like listen to me. If he was racist, I'm gonna fuck with you and say, nah, fuck that dude. Yeah. But I gotta have proof. Yeah. Right? If you can turn a little piece of context into a racial slur or make it seem racial, if that's all I saw, then I'm as ignorant as you are. Yeah. Because I'm not looking at all the context. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you're gonna put somebody on the cross and nail them to the cross off of a headline and some context, missing context, it's not shame on me. That's shame on you. Because you know, you want to go down that road, see where society goes when you do that. Yeah. That's the stoning. You know, that's the just. Quick, oh fuck, he did it, like take him to the guillotine. Yeah. You want that? Are you that perfect? Yeah. Because I'm not, he's not, and I know he's not.
And also we say it with like the possibility that we could be wrong. Trump can have his own evil agenda, you know what I'm saying? And if that's the case, bro, like, we're open to that, and we're open to discuss it. Okay, show me. Like, I want to be proven that, you know? But every time I'm like, hey, lead me to where you see this, because I want to see it for myself. They're like, oh, well, look it up. It's everywhere.
They can't. Mm-hmm. Because I can recite things that I don't agree with Trump on. Like when he first took office, I didn't agree with the Muslim ban, but he might have got information that he got that I would never know. Or I didn't agree on the vaccines, that they should be steamrolled and given out. But the only difference between Trump and Biden was Trump said you can take it or not.
That's right. Yeah.
Biden said you have to take it. To go to work, you have to take it. And so there's a difference still. You know, he believes in science. We've all believed in science up to this point. I've been doubting it a lot now. But that's my that's my freedom to do that. And if I want to tell somebody to do that, I should be able to do that. But if big companies are when we're saying something like that, or a doctor is saying something like that, for them to have the power to say, no, you can't say that, and shut them down, people aren't realizing we're living through corrupt times.
That's right.
We're living through true propaganda. Just like the Nazi Germany, the German citizens went through.
That's right.
A lot of them were told exactly what we're hearing now. They just didn't have cell phones to say, hey, look, but I saw this.
That's right.
Or you know what, check this out. This is from that meeting.
That's right.
I got this information here.
Yeah.
They didn't have that back then. You know, the Germans bought, the Nazis bought German or brought cheap radios for the Germans so that everyone can have a radio in their home. And that's when they started doing their propaganda to tell all the citizens, hey, this is what we feel about Jews, and this is how we feel like the country should go. And they coaxed all these people to believe that Jews were so bad through propaganda. And what did they give us all now today? Smartphones. We have instant access to internet. We got these little computers. Poor people got smartphones in 2011. When did we do that research? 2010? Obama gave everybody who was on food stamps little smartphones, little HTCs and whatnot.
For free.
For free. And so if we know people have always been evil throughout time, and we can all agree people are still going to be able to be evil in present day, why can't this be possible?
Yeah.
You know,
it's
some possible.
People just don't want to believe, though, man, and I have a hard time understanding that, right? Because wouldn't everybody want to know, like, okay, dude, if we get together, we can overcome.
Power these guys.
But these people just don't have the mental capability to say, like, oh shit, or to handle it, right? Because it could freak somebody out. There is such thing as a mental breakdown or a psychosis episode that can lead you into like a
shock. You see it in movies, right? When the first person dies and that other person,
that's right.
And then they get eaten by the monster too.
But they also give us messages through the.
But you know what? Those people, unfortunately, are there for the monster to eat, so we can keep running. You know?
I'm be running, bro.
I'm still
Because it's like if the monsters are coming. I used the werewolves analogy earlier, but if the werewolves are coming and we got to run into this big fence or this big place and close the gates. We can't just leave the gates open for every single person when the werewolves are already going to take these people. Like at some point we got to close the gates.
Yeah, and but people call that mentality something. What is it?
I mean, inhumane, but when you really...
No, but it's like, but think about it. I mean, honestly, like, if that was a scenario, right? You're running with a group of 10, and 4 people make it through the door, and then the werewolves are already taking out some.
Well, we're closing the door.
You gotta close the door, right? Because then otherwise everybody's
done.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're at that
and it's
epoch.
Like, but that's it's a fucked up decision to make, but it's like a survival decision, bro. Because it's like if you get into a shootout, something goes bad, somebody gonna get hit, and if you both packing, y'all both gonna shoot. And it's like if you're either shooting blindly or shooting with intent, you're trained to do that. You're trained to stay still.
Yeah. And that's where my hood life, my hood culture, growing up in the 90s with gang violence and drive-bys and shit, or living in Somalia, getting bombed, or living in these places, these people who come over here, they have a real sense of reality. Because people have been in this country for decades. Their reality is peace and some ugly school shootings, which is horrific.
Absolutely.
But when you live with violence like that every day, of hearing gunshots,
so that
bombs,
must just like something like minor. You know what I mean?
Like that, because it's so random and it's so personalized, because this kid was like bullied, or he couldn't understand how to be a man and to just accept certain things and move forward. They dwell on these things, and because the internet's on here, but that real life shit, like that, I'm just gonna kill you because you were in the way. Like this society doesn't know that. At least the Americans, you know, and it's more the liberals, it's more the Democrats. Who don't want to realize, like, hey man, life out there is different. Like you educated and college fed, and like nobody has that. You're like 10% of the world. Of the world.
Like the far left, though.
Well, no, there's people still that don't realize like how good mentality. It is here, and that we can lose it all like that if we didn't realize this. You get to third world because of corruption. All these tribes in Africa who are run by drug lords and gun runners and shit. Like they'll just murk whole villages just cause for power.
And in military, the children, you know.
Yeah, and sell off their resources to people like us and the CIA, you know. Yeah. And people are too scared to put it together, and because they think they have to go do something about it. Really, it's just if that awareness, that energy gets strong and stronger to realize that kills most of their people that follow them. I think
that's what this is, man. You know, spread awareness. Because it's like, I mean, what can we do? Like, come together as a people and stop the corruption. Mm-hmm. That's the ideal perfect world scenario, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is possible.
So
but it's the people that won't come together in agreement to go and do that.
But the thing, the American Revolution was won with 1% of the population. So what does that mean to you? That not everybody has to be the fighter. But if we all believe in that idea, that cause, that energy, just the same like we're talking about the evil shit. Like they're making us think it, they're making us watch it. Yeah. So we're giving them that energy. How's it no different than the opposite?
It works exactly the same.
Right, if not better. Yeah. And that's why I like Star Wars, because that's Star Wars. The Jedi's believe in that goodness. Like, hey man, let's just vibe, bro. And then I'll be stronger and I'll protect us and we'll be all good. Right. And you can be a Jedi too.
Yeah.
But
so what the fuck?
On the dark side, it's like, nah, get mad, like get horny, you know. It's like, fuck that bitch, no, steal that car. That's right. That makes you more powerful. Yeah. That's why I always love that story, because it is that duality of, it's always easier to do the bad thing,
but it's always awesome. Like in that exact story, had the in between about how just because like you feel like you're a very causal group or a very causal person, and then you got the opposite, like you can also lose sight of what the main goal is in between. You know what I mean? Which is what happened to the Jedi. You know what I mean? So like
for sure.
Yeah, it's man. It's
because things change, bro. Like time changes, things changes. It's a roller coaster, right? Yeah. That's why that discipline is so important, or that knowing who you are and knowing your boundaries and your standards. That you gotta hold on to that through it all. Yeah. You know, and I think that's what. Well, wisdom comes from experience as well too. So like with age, you go through shit and like that changes you. You know, so it's wise to get better, not bitter. That's right. You know, and I guess a lot of people, if you're not structured from a young age, you're gonna get bitter, or you play the victim, and it turns into that play it safe. And playing it safe sometimes is fucking.
Or it's always somebody else's fault. Or the emotions start to rule you.
I mean, it's just like politics-wise, man. Like people get so passionate about like being on the left or being on the right, and like I feel like people get so blinded like on very specific subjects that they start to forget. Like, look, at the end of the day, whatever group it is that you're like over here trying to like push, like they're not really worried about your best interest. They're worried about, what affects them. Like, the elite, the people who are involved in that whole process, the decisions that they make affect them more than it's going to affect you. So it's like, you have to be a little more open and like, it's about finding common ground, so we can become a better group of people.
Well, because we could both be LGBT, right?
Correct.
I guess, yeah. But like,
support.
Part of that group, right?
Yeah.
But you could be like, totally vegan, no killing animals, and I could be, I'm a carnivore diet. So like we're so multi-dimensional, but yet we act so one-dimensional. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
Because your group is some people you vibe with, like my hoop group. People we go hoop with. Like we all still have different shit we do outside of hooping.
That's right.
Or the podcast crew. Like there's all these groups, but we share that with each other. That's not our identity. And that's what trips me out about the LGBT. Like, is that the coolest thing about you, is your sex? Yeah. Like, isn't there more to you than that? Yeah. And I feel like, because I have gay friends, and it was never like, every day is like, everything's like, talking about their sexuality. It's just like, finding other common things y'all just,
that's right.
Y'all like.
We're just people.
You know what I
mean? Like, what you're doing behind closed doors, or how much you want to,
I feel like it was another group intentionally created to
provide
cause more division.
Yes.
Because it's like, I mean, there's, homosexual people that are against LGBTQ, and I don't agree with some of their standards, because it's like, if it's directed with intention for an evil or to create division, that enough that in itself is evil enough to create division, you know?
Yeah.
So you get involved into these groups, and then it gives you something to stand for, so it makes you feel good, and it gives you a reason or a purpose. But you're not realizing that you're creating that division, bro.
That's
The
right.
division is wicked, bro. It's from the devil, man. Like, we need to eradicate that. That's what needs to go away.
100, dude. Like, one big thing for me, man, is like, look, I don't want a boy playing with my daughter, you know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a very simple,
Like sports?
yeah, man, it's very simple. Look, I understand that, like, your son's situation is a little different than most boys. Like, if you know, like, your son identifies as a girl, like, hey, look, at the end of the day, it's not my kid. It's not my life. I'm not dealing with that. But that doesn't mean that, like, I think it's appropriate for your son to be playing with my daughter and the rest of the girls, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I feel like all these things, like, people need to think about them more rationally, as opposed to just like, well, I need you to be okay with how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
It's an epoch. It could be an epoch for them, you know?
Yeah,
like, oh, for now I think I'm a boy, or for now I think I'm a girl, you know?
Right.
And then later on it changes, dude. But it's like, it is a dangerous situation for in many angles, you know?
Because then you're starting to ask people to be okay with blurring lines and definitions. And when you blur a line and definition, you know, that's when you get a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he killed him, but he didn't mean to. It was on accident. You know, and then it becomes like, oh, shit,
so it was manslaughter? I mean, I wouldn't go that far either. You know?
Right.
It was an accident.
But we have to understand on definitions of things. And what a lot of these people don't understand is they want us to bend to their definition when 98, 99% of the population doesn't understand that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And just because we don't understand it, or we even do understand it, that doesn't mean the 99.8% have to live by that.
Yeah.
Half the time.
But like with all the books and all the YouTube videos out there, still it's like, if they don't understand it now, what are you gonna do? Like, make them watch? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we have to reprogram them type shit, because like all the info's out there, and they're just willfully like ignorant. Like, you know, willfully like, oh no, you can say what you just said as sincere as you just said it, and they'll still say that you're a bigot, you're wrong. And just shit on you trying to be, you know what I'm saying, vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? But like, like, seeing it and even having these conversations, because like I'm hearing everything everybody's saying and stuff, and y'all had both said something that kind of comes back to it, like that nobody has like a higher purpose. Like, you know, this is just the thing, and like there is no God to them. There is no let's get more money or let's go on bigger vacation trips or whatever. Like, they don't have anything higher than just like this hill to like die on. Like, you know, because they'll ruin friendships for it, you know, and all that type of stuff. But I don't think that there is a way to, you know, reach those that are like in that mind state, because it's a frequency. Like, you know, it's just they don't intertwine, you know, like, yeah, man, because I've had so many like sincere conversations. Like, I'm hearing your tone when you're saying that, and I've had so many sincere conversations with people from like this little party affiliation, whatever it is or whatever. And like you said, I don't say that I'm just like a Trumper, you know what I'm saying? I'm not that person. But there's just no way to reach them. Like, their heart, their mind are in a whole different like area.
It's like a whole different breed.
All they heard was you disagreed. All of that, all the niceties.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, it has to come from somewhere, right? Like, now, could it be pharmaceutical? You know, could it be like the shots we get as babies? Could we get like the shots we get as we grow? Or could it be negligence from their parents? Or too much freedom, you know? What is it, permissive parents?
It's all of that.
I think you don't...
Because it does have to develop, bro. Because it's like, think about it, dude. Like, you could turn a mind or a human into whatever you want, really.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think it's all of that, man. Like, they've ran so many... Along with the, we were talking about the mind control stuff. They ran so many psychological experiments on people. You know, what would you choose? You know, all the Pavlov stuff and all the information that they've gotten. you know, and they just know how to manipulate a human, you know, to where you can even be on our path and trying to be on the right path and still slip up every now and then by eating hot Cheetos or, you know, doing something with someone you're not supposed to, steal, whatever it might be, and you're not even that person, and you're like, well, what did I just do that for? So I think it is just a whole bombardment of different things, you know what I'm saying, that are hitting these people. And, you know, on their end too, like, you know, we were even saying earlier, they think that what they're doing is just completely right.
Exactly.
Like, you know,
there's no it's got to be this way.
They're the same as us. Minus that I could be wrong.
Exactly. They're like, we're the revolution. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no. Like, so, but yeah, man, I mean, I don't know, dude. I think it is just two frequencies that are going on right now, man. It's a spiritual battle for sure.
It is.
You know, because, there's no, like we said,
I want to be B-Rabbit. The music. I want to do that because, man, I want to help us. Like, I want us to like free ourselves of that. And it is like, and that is other part of the show of the Ruffled Feathers thing is tying in big pharma, big food, big you know, all these big corporate entities that run the politics.
They're the enemy, bro.
They're the enemy. They're the military.
They're part
industrial
of the beast,
complex.
you know? They're machines of the beast, man, for sure.
Those are the true machines that need to be broken down. Not so much the American Constitution. It's those big machines that stole the country, and then we have the same enemies as the left. Because if you really ask them, they're gonna say, "Yeah, I don't believe in big business. You know, I don't."
They're here for us.
Or big corporations.
They're here to help us.
If you just say big corporations, they're like, "Yeah, no, I don't. We don't like that." We know how to specify what big corporations are and which ones are the dirty ones, but we all agree on that, or we all agree that we're being too medicated, or if we introduced that what's in the food, like, do you think this is okay? Yeah, I agree with that. Like,
how bad can it be?
Right. Well, because I use the food thing, like, and I'm still trying to get my family to think this way and friends to think this way. Is like, if I have a bowl of Kellogg's cereal, I have two bowls here. One's here and one's here. And on this one here, I'm just going to take a little dropper of some pine Sol and then just drop it in there and then mix it into the milk.
That's right.
Like, are you going to eat the one with the pine Sol or are you going to eat the other one? Oh, I'm not eating that one with the pine Sol. It's like, yeah, well, the truth is they both have the pine Sol.
Yeah. I get you.
And it's just like, when are you going to figure that shit out? That they're not feeding us right. And, you know, and again, it goes to the big businesses, the big corporations big tobacco bought these big food businesses and practice the same business model. And the marketing strategy is make it fun.
The addiction.
Make all the
what
marketing.
They add in it.
The colors, the cartoon characters. Like, this shit's popping. Like, you want these Kellogg's cornflakes.
I mean, that's like a strategic attack.
Yeah,
you know? Like, everything is designed to get your attention and to want it, desire it.
It's definitely like some what is that scientist, that survival of the fittest, Darwinism shit, man. Because it's like, man, they're still. I mean, I don't know about Walmart, but I'm pretty sure Walmart will even have like an organic option, you know, of a sweet or of a meat or whatever it might be, and people just aren't voting with their dollars. You know what I'm saying? It's just like. You know, and I've experienced it to where I've done like, okay, all organic, and, you know, that's pretty much what I do at my house now. And it comes out to be more affordable in the sense that, like, the food lasts longer in your stomach. Like, you don't need as much. You don't have the craving.
Because it has the nutrients.
Yeah, it has the nutrients. Or, like, you know, all those little addiction things that they put the natural flavor that's not natural. Like, you know, it's like those things that make you keep coming back. You know, it's like, oh, you notice a big difference in it. But people aren't going to vote with their dollar and really take the time to just, like, you know, because all of it really does come down to like personal responsibility. You know, it's like you can offer the poison, it can be there, and then they say, no, I'm just gonna get this each and every time because it is actually there. And, you know, people just aren't doing that, you know.
But I think it's because they don't know the pine Sols in both.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's like, I think like the older, like maybe like our generation-ish and up maybe, but like, for sure now, you know, like people, it's kind of been, the alarm has been rung, you know, like there's an alertness to it. And it's just...
So do you think the younger group vibes with that or doesn't vibe with?
I think they don't vibe with the bad food. Like, I don't think they vibe with the bad or
with the Cheetos.
Yeah, with the Cheetos.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we're Cheetos. Like, you know, our age group, Cheetos still.
I agree.
But yeah, I think that they're kind of noticing it. They did say that they're taking Red 40 off of the market.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's still Red number 2, and you know, I guess.
Right.
So it's like
the other shit, dude. All the like.
But it's got to be a process too, you know. Like,
yeah, it has to start somewhere.
Like,
you know?
I hear people hating on Trump because, well, when you're looking into U.S. aid, but you're not looking into the Pentagon, and it's like, motherfucker, he just started.
I'm here for 3 weeks.
He just started.
Yeah, they were yelling. But how much money did he already find too?
A lot,
you know,
right?
So,
A lot. And
Billions.
the fact that he would even open a department for that, you know what I'm saying?
And it expires.
They think it's evil.
The DOGE expires in like 2026.
Okay.
So they're not there for like another department forever.
Yeah.
And that's what DOGE is finding. All these departments that were probably created at one moment in time because it was necessary.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we need this agriculture department to make sure these workers, you know, get their fair wage. And then it should have ended. All right, cool. That's the new regulation. So we don't need y'all anymore. But instead, it's like, oh, well, now we need a department for this and this department and this and this and this and this and this. And that's how the bureaucracy gets created. And people don't realize that's what DOGE is. And the reason Elon is tasking it up is his little hackers are just pretty much put his shit all into an algorithm, all the government spending, and it red flags all these extra spendings. Like, why is this one department spending this much? And so they just go check what it is. Yeah. And it's like, that's some simple.
But I mean, it's like, think about like a company that's going down.
Bankrupt.
You would bring somebody in to do that. And then find that.
audit.
And that's exactly what it's for. But these people are twisting it, thinking like
it's over.
He's making his
power.
own. Yeah, he's making it for his own well-being and blah, blah,
His
blah.
own game.
He wants his power, so now he's abusing his power. But bro, like sometimes these people post some shit that I'm like, yes, this is good.
Yeah.
We don't need to know what shrimp, what happens to a shrimp running on the treadmill.
I want to eat that motherfucker.
If you let them bullshit you long enough, they'll come up with a very elaborate.
Yes,
bro, but it's not even anymore, bro. Now they just tell you some dumb shit.
Yeah. Well, bro, the one of the conversations I had, the person, because you all were talking about how Hitler earlier and shit. This person was like, do you know how Hitler got into power? He consolidated all the power first and got rid of organizations. And it's like, so he's on the liberal side saying that, this is
what Trump's up to.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like he wrote himself in.
Yeah. But people like
that's
that
what Castro did, though.
Yeah, but people like that don't understand our Constitution.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the separation of powers,
the
judiciary, the legislative, and the executive. But that's ignorance because again, our schools suck, right? And they're all mad about, he's trying to get away from the Department of Education.
Like shut it down completely,
right?
Yeah.
But look at our education. Is it great?
What does that mean? Like, elaborate on that a little bit.
So the Department of Education is basically a national standard, and it's like
public schooling.
Public schooling, and it's run by the government, and then the government dictates where money goes.
Yeah. And there's corruption within the districts and shit.
Right. Well, I mean,
obviously your kids aren't learning.
Because I completely agree that education, since I've been alive and in the States, has been shit.
And it's going to go to the States now.
Okay, so
now
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, because my logic tells me that's a good thing.
Yeah,
and I don't even really know. That's why I'm asking.
California wants to teach what they want to teach, and Texas, we teach what we teach.
But who regulates that?
The state does. But it has to be the Department of Education they were the regulators, but they also gave the curriculums and they give like pretty much.
But it has to be valid. It has to be good and efficient and fruitful.
Right, but it's not.
Not necessarily.
No, but I'm saying with this change.
Well, with this changes, it makes it up to the state. So you can have a shitty state that has a shitty.
That's your fault.
And that's the state's fault.
Yeah.
Which isn't really like a good solution because then you're gonna have you're gonna have like different results all over the place. You know what I mean?
Well, it might be because like let's say one state does do better and they have a really unique way of the teaching. So they're like, hey, we're gonna adopt that over here because we don't want to. Texas is hiring all the engineers and nobody's getting hired for engineer job from any other state.
But there's a moment of growth. There's an epoch of that state or that person going through that hardship. Like, oh fuck, like our people are getting dumb, people are leaving our state.
Yeah.
You know.
So you work to make it better.
You work to make it better.
See?
But you go through that growth.
How simple it could be.
But people want, as soon as Trump's here, nobody should be hurt and we should be good.
Yeah.
Like that's unrealistic.
Tell them that.
Because you also think about states' rights, and that's how we were even like started, was
Federalist,
all
yeah.
states' rights. Like, you know, it's like we come together for, you know, anything that we absolutely need or defend ourselves. But like, other than that, y'all gonna live the way y'all live. We're gonna sell tobacco. Y'all gonna do this. Like,
Yeah,
you know, so
Nevada can gamble, Texas, you know.
And we can live in a happy little community.
yeah,
Right.
Fuck.
So
But
that
you know,
sounds
like,
great.
The other like fucked up part about like when it comes to the education and all that is like, so like the whole like feeling of if we can't get these group of kids who aren't performing, like basically it's like fuck them. Like we're just gonna move on with the rest, and that's not a good solution.
But
man,
they
'cause
also
you're
they give them a pass too, right?
Yeah, well, they let them pass,
Yeah.
and that's just like sweeping the problem under the rug, you know, like.
Yeah, because
the
they're
point
putting
is,
them
like,
into society.
But it's so tough to tackle, man, because like a huge part of like being successful in school and all that from a young age, you know, as you're growing up is like your parents' involvement.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of these kids don't have any of that, and that's a huge thing. But it's like because that's not happening, that doesn't mean that we just have to. Like,
But I think,
you know, like,
but I think the fix to that isn't continue to let the government make
Oh, no,
shitty education.
I understand.
No,
I feel that.
my fix to that, because obviously you can talk about a problem all day, but if you don't have some type of a solution for it, then, you know, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So my thing is obviously what happens in the two-parent system? You learn, you know, you get somebody who's an enforcer, someone who's a lover, or a, you know, nurturer, and then you kind of, obviously, if you don't have that, you know, it's hard to have that balance, right?
Yeah.
But we are going to go through that time where kids are in that limbo stage because they don't have it, but the shift has to change, right?
Correct.
Like, and those kids that get fallen off, I think that comes where communities who understand who their kids are in their community, and those people who are making money, who are successful, when those people can come together like, hey, we know these 3 families or these 15 families need this much to just, you know, make it by.
That's right.
Let's come together and help these people.
Gotcha.
But like that happens, like if a government says we're just going to send 20 million to Houston, and then let the bureaucrats pay out that money, you get what we got now.
Of course, it's never going to go to where it needs to go.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we empower and say, you know what, the government's going to give grants or something like that, or some type of voucher for communities, then I feel like it goes from the ground up as opposed, because I feel like there are people like, or the parents died.
Yeah.
You know, they don't, the parents were going to stay together, but the parents died, or the mom died. So there's a situation where everything was still trying to be perfect, but it just, you know, life came.
Yeah.
And those are the programs that we feel like people should always have, that help from the government, because the government should be like your parent.
Yeah.
You're there for you when you need them, but you let them live their life. Like, you don't, other than that, like.
Yeah.
Because what's a bad parent? It's like,
So
oh, well, here, let me wipe your mouth. Let me clean your ass, you know, let me buy this for you. That's what these people want right now.
So would you say that that's basically what's happening in the States now?
Yeah.
We're getting some kind of organization, some kind of like moral compass we're going to follow, or like a standard of like, hey, things have to be organized, things have to be done a certain way, and they work.
Back to basics.
And has it ever worked like that? Has it ever been like that?
I don't know.
It's worked, but it's worked through its epoch of time. It's worked through.
Because there's always like corruption.
Well, no, before that, because the
changes
United
it.
States believed in a small government, so that meant your governments were tiny, dude. It was George Washington and whoever could fill that White House, and
I would say for the
and
whole
the Capitol,
nation.
and that was for the whole nation. Now there's building here, Pentagon, you know, Treasury, all this shit. It was meant to stay there.
And people that have had power, like a president, have established these new positions, these new branches, this new.
Sometimes it's voted in, sometimes it's through the presidential orders, but obviously you have to go through each situation and figure out at what point was this created. But the one thing is like we never got taxed on anything any American made. You kept your money. The first time we paid taxes was for the Civil War. And it was for after the Civil War, for post-Civil War, to pay for all the rebuilding of the country. And they had an expiration date on when the taxes were done, because we had a revolution about taxes, about taxing this on tea.
Yeah.
So again, like, does that mean the United States was perfect? No, we still had slaves. Like we were still doing like backyard shit.
Yeah.
But the whole point of it was to start here and then, move forward. But the whole idea was this Constitution was thought of for weeks and days, and all these different minds got together and say, let's see what's happened in the past. Socrates, the Romans, the Greek, let's look at all these people and formulate something that would work for everyone. Yeah. And that meant less government. That meant more power to the people. Mm-hmm. That meant rights from somebody bigger than us, because I can't give you your rights. Because that's what it was before. Mm-hmm. You're my slave, bro. Sorry, you owe me money. I'm going to pay you a little bit, but you got to work off your debt.
Yeah.
Like, this country, but again,
it's
like...
It's fucking crazy.
Right. It's weird because we still had slaves at the time, but that was like the natural, that was just the way of life back then.
Yeah, I'm stronger. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And it was just like I equate it to now is like everyone has smartphones now because we just have them. If someone says no more smartphones, we're gonna be like, no, these are ours. Like,
no, for sure.
And it was the same thing with slaves. It's like, no slavery. It's like, no, these are ours. Yeah. As fucked up as it is, to me, it's still fucked up now because these smartphones are killing us.
Yeah.
And suiciding kids and, doing all kinds of...
I think they do play a detrimental part in our destruction for sure, but...
It definitely does, man, because to me, like, there's no way that you can convince me that it's productive for a kid to have access to a tablet every day, right? Like, instead of doing, like... Dude, like, I think, like, for us, like, it's a huge thing, like, just, like, creating relationships and learning how to deal with different kind of personalities, whether you were someone that was getting bullied at one point, or just learning how to deal with like just being outside. You know what I mean? That's what we did. We grew up outside, having to deal with our environment, like you say, like a situation where like it was a little more violent than another person, but like having to go through those things shape you as a human. And like these kids, they're on their devices all day, man, and that's all they do. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, and it's not like they're working on IXL, which is like some kind of like math or like school application that's helping them get better at this. They're playing games.
Have you seen those streamers who are wearing their headphones all the time and they have intentions?
They have the intentions. Dude, I just saw a video about that this morning.
Wait, seriously?
That's
streamer,
insane.
Yeah, because their headsets are on all the fucking time and they're just streaming and shit. Yeah. And it's funny because they'll start calling out other people and then they'll look for themselves on the live streams and everybody. What the fuck is this? Yeah. Because their heads have indented because the headphones are on so long.
That's evolution.
That's Wall-E.
Dude, yeah. But I mean,
Wall-E.
it's like a double-edged sword too, because it's like, man, it could be used for good. It could be such educational content.
How we're using it, we're trying to.
Yeah, but also like apps or games can be created like that, dude. But instead, they're created to make us dumb, to dumb us down, And there's got to be a reason for that, right? And this is my conspiracy ass coming out.
Yeah.
I think that there are higher powers that require the majorities to be zombies and just low-level operating, like low frequencies,
It's that energy
and
we
that's
talked
why
about.
like this new generation is growing up like that because they are operating at a lower frequency. And that's scary.
But it's like even then, I'm sorry, man.
No, go ahead.
So, but it's like even then, like there's still a mature like adult out there handing them this and allowing them they hand it to them, then they still allow them through the features to download whatever it is that they download, access to it during the day and everything. It's like the whole the whole society, like, because the kids aren't making this choice. The kids aren't like, I'm gonna go buy a $400 $600 iPad,
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, real adults are like really putting this power.
Right.
Because it's easy too. Like your kid going wild, he's gonna be quiet for 2 hours.
But even
but it is bad. It is
with going back to like what you were saying earlier. Like, what do you do with all the bad kids and stuff? It's like that's kind of the separation and where everything needs to be sifted. Is like we don't really control any of this unless like out of the 3 bad kids in a 30-room classroom, we're not leaving behind the 3, we're advancing the 27. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, because those 27 want to be here, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And
they're going to produce more for the community than staying back for the 3 that aren't making it. It's the werewolves again.
Yeah, we're just vibrating down to a lower frequency instead of like aiming for something higher. And it's like, and then to link that back to what you're saying with these iPads and shit, natural selection, all of that, let them fucking do that shit. And then your kids, all those kids are gonna go off and run the world
They'll be
as
elevated.
they should. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Versus the other ones who are just iPad babies. Why don't y'all wait up for me? I don't understand this concept in math. Like, you know, it's like, okay,
Because it's the same. And then I'm going to piggyback because this is what I was going to say earlier. It's like, you have the 2 types of kids.
Yeah.
You have the ones that are super low frequency, just listening to trap music, just watching, you know, the people get hit on at the takeovers, just like watching the mumble rap.
The gay jokes.
Doing all that, watching, you know, SNL, doing all that low frequency shit. And then you have the higher learning kids that are capturing some of that too, obviously, but they're learning about, shit, man, we're eating wrong. Shit. The government's corrupt.
Right.
Or even how to work, like how to use this as a tool. You know, like the computers, their phones and shit,
But it's just at this current time, the bad guys have the mic. And this is what I always bring home damn near every episode is watch who's emceeing the party. Like, you know, it's not the good guys. The ones most people are getting information from are corrupt, are evil, are dark, don't think what you want to think, or would like, they would feed you to the wolves when they didn't need to.
Of course.
You know, there's all those zombie movies where like there's that one guy and he's like, I fucking can't stand you, dude. And they just throw him to the zombies.
Yeah.
Like those are the people giving us the news right now.
They are.
And these people who are so full of love, and I feel like they're misguided. If they just understood that, we could be 100 years leveled up in 10 years. You know?
Yeah.
But money and greed, man. I mean, money is what definitely builds greed, right? Like, and like that's the thing that everyone's just worried about, like what's gonna make my life better, and not worried about everyone else. And that's why we have such division, you know, like not only in our political parties, but just in general, man. Like it's about finding the right balance for everyone, man. Like make life better for everyone, for all our kids, for everyone. Like how can we distribute all this wealth and have everyone, you know? Now, of course, I can understand the argument about people say, well, people who don't work hard shouldn't really have access to this. Well, yeah, I get that, man, but like, man, it's just.
Well, look, like let's say it this way, like let's say you are not the producer, right, and I am. I can give you the job. You can come become the manager. You can come become my you know, just my right hand. Yeah. And now you can support your whole family and all that, because that inverse opposition, which is to me socialism, is like, well, shoot, you making all the money. What about us? We can't. Well, when the CEO who didn't build that company takes over that company, you get shut out for sure. Yeah. But when the real CEO who built that company from the ground up, you're getting the job. Yeah. But that comes back to personal responsibility. If that CEO who made it was personally responsible and had center of God and faith and people,
that's right.
There's going to be none of that. Yeah. But it takes that step one. Yeah. And this is where we're at. Step one, like, look at yourself in the mirror. Know you're not perfect. Yeah. And love the people who give you the time. Yeah. And then from there, it's like work hard. Yeah. Love those people that continue to show you love. Yep. Follow your dreams and your heart and work hard and do right by people. And it goes back to the golden rule. Then everything is good, right?
Yeah. Supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
Yeah. It can be though. It really can be, man. But it's like, you throw, pride and then jealousy and envy, man, and these things are real. They're real deities or entities or whatever, demons, that latch to you. But I think it happens to all of us, but we know how to battle them. We know how to combat that and how to stay in the right track with God and the moral compass that we're talking about. But it's inevitable, man. The life that we live in, the realm that we occupy, is a balance. It's never going to be steady. It's always a vibrational wave, going up and down. But it's like keeping that goodness and that faith. To me, is that faith in God that has sought me out, But also, again, the group of friends you keep doing and what you want to do and to actually fulfill it and go after it. You know,
keep that circle small until it's ready to grow, and then it just grows.
Yeah, just organically. And then with the right team, dude, everything's like, you know.
But start there instead of the big group down.
Yeah, right.
That's my thing.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Ground up.
Yeah.
Because the loyalty, man, like you don't find that shit.
Yeah, you won't leave that kid behind.
Man, you know?
You won't leave that family behind.
Yeah.
You know, I've helped many friends and family throughout times, and I've asked for help, but that's how it should be. You know, like the people close to you should be the ones, not the government.
Yeah.
But if you make that, you know, that effort to be like good to the people around you, whether it's the guy at the corner store, you know, who you see every day because you buy your coffee there, or the person at the gym at the front desk, or the people at the gym.
And that's how it becomes a ripple, because then they pass it on.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the energy that goes back to that vibrational, never-ending.
Right. That just starts from inside out, man. But
yeah.
I think that's a good stop, man. I think.
Yeah, man.
I think that brings us to a good stop for the show, man. Yeah.
Any last words?
Any last words? You about to die. I want that adrenochrome. What'd you say?
I'm like, oh.